My Lords and members of the House of Commons, I thank you for the loyal and dutiful addresses which on your behalf of the Lord Chancellor and Mr. Speaker have presented to me. I am very glad to be here today and to congratulate the members of the House of Commons on the rebuilding of their chamber. I look back with pride and gratitude to the part that Parliament played when this country was in danger. True to its function of expressing the will and spirit of my people, the House of Commons continued with unshakable courage and high purpose to fulfill its duties despite the bombing of its home. The destruction of the chamber in which it had met for so many years was not allowed to interrupt our parliamentary government. And when the peoples of our Commonwealth of nations stood alone, the spirit of a free people ensured the maintenance of our system of government. And may it always continue to stand for those great and permanent realities expressed in our way of life. The new chamber has been built as near as possible in the form of the old. And there is a traditional intimacy about our legislative chambers which is very characteristic of parliamentary life in our land. It suggests an almost homely place of discussion and taking counsel, as if it derived some of its virtue from the family circle. I am glad to know that this feature has been preserved in the new building. I congratulate the architect who designed the chamber and all the men and women who have taken part in its building and furnishings. Its decoration and fittings are outstanding examples of our skill and craftsmanship in wood and metal and stone. But this chamber, in a sense, belongs to our great family of nations, for it is adorned and enriched by generous gifts from all over the Commonwealth. I am happy to welcome here today the speakers of the legislatures throughout the British Commonwealth. Their presence makes this a symbolic occasion of untold value. Of all the bonds which unite my peoples, none is stronger than our common devotion to the ideals of freedom and justice and toleration, which in the political sphere find their supreme expression in our parliamentary system. These ideals have been evolved and tried through the long process of our history. They were born and have grown to maturity here in Westminster. It is a proud day, although my peoples vary in feelings. This is our heritage. May all those who shall serve their country in the new Commons chamber strive to maintain and uphold those great and enduring principles on which our political ideals are based. May they, in their work, be an inspiration and example to all throughout the world, to whom our way of life stands as a guiding light at a time when it is opposed by the darker counsels of materialism and tyranny. May this chamber long stand to shape the destinies of my people at home. And may the blessing of Almighty God rest upon it and all who labor therein.
Most gracious Sovereign, we, Your Majesty's most dutiful and loyal subjects, the Lords spiritual and temporal in Parliament assembled, beg leave to thank Your Majesty for the most gracious message which Your Majesty has addressed to this House, and to ask permission to express to Your Majesty the unqualified satisfaction with which we have heard that the Commons Chamber has been rebuilt after its destruction by Your Majesty's enemies in 1941 and is now ready for occupation. We beg leave, as an integral part of the Parliament of the United Kingdom, to assure Your Majesty of the undivided loyalty of this House to the persons of Your Majesties and to the throne, the symbol of the unity of the peoples of the British Commonwealth of Nations, and the expression of their common devotion to the ideals of liberty, justice, and toleration for all peoples.
The new House of Commons is now ready for occupation. I hope that everyone will agree that the Select Committee, the architects, the engineers, the craftsmen, the contractors, and indeed everybody who has had anything to do with the building of the House of Commons has, to use the old traditional phrase, served the Commons faithfully and well.
The building of this House of Commons has taken just 3.5 years from the time we started from the level of the foundations, which in these days of difficulties is rather a fine achievement. It's a building of extraordinary complexity and full of elaborate detail, both in design and in mechanical equipment. The design follows the old form largely, but the detail is entirely different. It's, I think, rather fresher and more in keeping with our modern times, but it still does have the atmosphere of the old house, that intimate atmosphere which has been so important to preserve. And I hope it will continue or carry on the old traditions of the house efficiently and satisfactorily for many centuries to come.